Cannabis and causing schizophrenia. You've had a lot of great comments on that last video, and I want to address it properly. I'm Lex Pelger. I do canna education for CV Sciences, the makers of Plus CBD, and I apologize for the Frozen 2 music, but we just watched it for the first time and it's on loop. Probably forever. Yes, the typical view of schizophrenia is that this is a genetic disease and some kind of environmental factor brings it out. And so for some people, they seem to have a genetic predisposition so strong that it's hard to imagine they would not have gotten this in their lifetime. Usually in their early 20s or so is when it typically starts to come out. But for others, it seems like they just would have had that predisposition, and if it wasn't for some kind of trauma, it wouldn't have come out. And those traumas can be things like car accidents, or a death in the family, or a bad psychedelic trip. Those stories, of course, abound. And a bad cannabis trip can also be psychedelic and lead to this. I've certainly heard that happening in my work as a journalist. But the public health data seems to match up with the preclinical data we see in mice and rat models of this. And that is the earlier, younger, and heavier use of cannabis in someone, the more likely they are to later develop schizophrenia. And I've already read your arguments about, well, that is because those are the people who are using cannabis and medicating with it, and that's the reason that they're also ones who are developing it later. They're self-medicating before they know anything's happening with them, which is a great argument and is absolutely true for some of these cases, I am sure. But also, you see it seems to be increasing the risk for people. And friends and family see cannabis as the causing factor. And in the animal models, turning on and off genes related to this and enabling the behaviors. And so there's a common phrase in science: don't believe the study, believe the field. And you have a whole bunch of studies pointing in the same direction. And it's a little bit like climate change. You can dismiss any one study and say something was wrong with how it was set up and that there was bias in it. But when you have proof of climate change from 100 different directions, from scientists in different fields, gathering data in different ways, using different techniques, and they're all pointing in the same direction, that's what the field is showing. And you see the same thing in cannabis and schizophrenia. Is it always the cause? Or the environmental trigger that brings it out? No. But it seems like that is true sometimes, and if we're going to be honest about the risks of cannabis, which is a plant I adore and know is one of the best medicines out there, we still need to be honest about the risks.